what should be an amazing middle of the week 4 matchup.
Indeed, it will be.
So according to Uncle, this seed is bootsless. We'll see if he's lying or telling us the truth as Tairr picks up the Ether Medallion and Chex follows suit. We're going to head up to begin the escape sequence. Going to ask you now, for those of us who are familiar with the randomizer standard sword randomized starts, Alredus, what item do you think Uncle's going to have for us here in the sewer entrance?
I think it's going to be Hammer. It's a fun one to start with. It's pretty friendly, and it's a one less chase item.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and say it's the Cane of Berna. Oh, look, I was right.
It looks like we have... what sprite do you see Chex using? Because I see Tairr is using Valera.
Yes, that is Valera from
World of Warcraft.
Yep,
lore.
And I see Chex is a very green version of Link.
He might be the Phantom Link, is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's
like
difficult in the rain to see. Perhaps once we get indoors. Yeah, that's one I haven't seen very often. We found Chex did manage to pick up a 4 bomb pack in that startup, which is very comfortable.
Exactly. It gives him a little bit of safety in case he runs out of magic, but also easy clear of the back end of escape, paired with quick introduction into Kakariko.
Oh, gets a little mistake there on the Cane of Berna activation. Turned it off just a little bit too soon, which is actually very risky or a big problem for him because the activation of this item uses more mana power than leaving it on, and so he basically had to turn it on twice there, and that might force him into picking up a small mana pot later, which could slow things down for his escape sequence.
Indeed, but if things absolutely go pear-shaped for him, the nice thing is he can save and quit. It's a time loss, but it will be a mana refill at this point.
Yeah, and you can start to see the level of mana coming out of that blue guard is rather low. Tairr actually had the exact same thing happen to him fighting that green guard.
I find with V29 and the new standardized randomized swords, the race we're running now, has really made escape quite entertaining to actually go through, rather than the old open where it was it was okay, but it didn't have the flair that this has now.
I agree with you, and the other thing that is fun about it, what makes it fun for me, is the necessity for like these small, minute changes that can have a strong impact on their ability to get out of this sequence in the fastest amount of time. It's almost like watching No Major Glitches matchup where everything is very prescribed, and so it's fun in that regard.
Totally agree, and with some of the items like bombs, even though bombs are nice to have, going in and having to kill the final boss of escape, aka that lone rat who stole the key, with a bomb is absolutely not a fun task at all.
Yeah, it is a source of like nerves for I think every single person who's doing this, especially in a race condition. You just want to make sure you hit that first bomb on the rat, and when you miss or when the rat decides to just take a U-turn and dodge your bomb, it feels awful because every single one of those is an additional bomb sequence, like where you're waiting for the bomb to go off, you're chasing the rat, and it's just that bomb count just keeps dwindling. However, for our runners today, it's not going to be a problem.
And and a 4-pack on Tairr's side, so we have both with bombs, which means we shouldn't see any sort of farming whatsoever, other than popping pots, I think, from both of them to get a little bit of magic here.
Yeah, Tairr's going to do a little check here. There is a mana pot in this room that he's about to enter that we often don't see runners head towards. Chex did not go that way. He has enough magic power in order to hit the rat. So I'm assuming that Tairr's going to head off to the left-hand side of this room now to pick that pot up. And here we go.
Oh, there's only magic. That one. There is another small mana pot by the torch on the left there.
Some additional bombs and checks from that chest for Chexhuman that going to give him enough bombs to not only finish the sequence, but also make his way through Kakariko Village, which is very good. You don't have to worry about raising 50 rupees.
Exactly, which means you are one step closer to being able to fund the bottle vendor and possibly fund that wonderful extortionist Zora.
Chex ran out of magic chasing down this rat.
Nice shot with the bomb.
Oh, Tairr picking up another pot there to give him just a little bit more juice for his Cane O'Brien. And he's able to get the key rat with that. So in Back of Escape, we get 300 more rupees, the map, and a full heart container. That does indicate that there will be something of value, maybe extreme value, or maybe very marginal value at the Sanctuary chest at the end of this sequence.
And because V29 has a fairly decent high front load in terms of key items, we should see hopefully something good in Sanctuary, but at least a couple of items in Kakariko as well.
Yeah, that seems to be the most likely thing to see. Oh, unfortunately, just a +5 bomb upgrade. All right, with the quick map check, we see that Tower of Hera is a 5/6 crystal, Eastern Palace is a regular crystal, and it was the red pendant over in Desert Palace.
I thought it was blue, but either way, it is a pendant dungeon. And a non-green pendant dungeon.
Red, blue, it doesn't matter.
It's a not fun pendant.
So we're going to see Chex heading upwards, does a tree pull, and it looks like he's going to see what the bush crab has as well. What's a little bit more? Ooh, full magic.
Ooh, that is handy.
He's going to give us a look at the lumberjack ledge, whereas Tairr's just going to go ahead and bypass that sequence entirely. And unfortunately, looks like I couldn't quite make out what was there.
Ooh, and our second 300 rupees left in the forest.
So it is going to be a mystery to us, but Chex knows what he needs to, what the lumberjack is going to provide for magic powder here in Bandit's Hideaway for Tairr.
That is a great item. I've always found the magic powder just makes everything a bit safer throughout the adventure. So the earlier you get it, the better.
Yeah, I must admit, I rely on my ability to turn anti-fairies into fairies in order to be successful at this game.
It makes running Ganon's Tower quite safer, as there are many places to quickly just top up after Gauntlet and going into the last bit.
We see here the difference that not checking Lumberjack makes for a runner. Tairr has kind of bypassed checks and is now checking Blind's Hut.
Ooh, in the Book of Medora, in Blind's Hut with a little bit of money and a sword.
All right, that's very beneficial. It gives access to that Ether Medallion, and there we go with the Power Glove as well.
To your point about the speed of not doing the Lumberjack check, what is nice about knowing is seeing a key item up there and immediately knowing that you will find AGA items and not question whether you have to go kill a Ganem or not.
Yep, it's absolutely a 50-50 guess work for a runner. Some people will see the lantern. Oh, there we get the water toes in the well. And the boots.
Uncle's a liar.
Full footwear seed early on. And as I was saying, some runners, if they start to get the AGA items like the cape or Master Sword early with the lantern, that's the signal, or they feel that that's enough of a signal for them. But you're right, absolutely. Having that foreknowledge that I'm going to be having to go down there is absolutely beneficial in many cases.
Or trying to exclude it from your choices, because it is a 5+ minute journey for nothing other than a dark portal and a little bit more complicated overworld travel.
Yep, and we're gonna look at the back of the tavern now. Just 3 more bombs to replenish what we've been using.
And now we'll check the library, which if we need to grab, we can.
Oh, how convenient!
And it's not useful.
You know, the one time it would be nice if it was something. Tairr's gonna go ahead and use those boots to break down this door instead of a bomb. And check the maze game for us. With sword and boots, you can get some nice dashes through there. And it's just another 300 rupees.
There are 5 of them, if I'm not mistaken on my count.
And we've found so many.
Exactly. So our runners are in good money. And with flippers, I'd highly expect after clearing South Shore here, so the dam and Moldorm Cave, we'll probably see a Zora check.
Yeah, the flippers also makes routing up to Ice Rod a little bit easier.
Indeed. Less crabs to deal with. Especially with green mail, those crabs do 2 hearts apiece.
And just another big 20. The seed does want to provide a lot of funds for our runners.
And what's interesting to note, for those who aren't aware, just because you find money does not mean it is driving you towards Zora. The game assumes you will farm money to go get Zora and have early access to it once you have one of the items required to get there.
Yeah, the logic does not care about giving you money. It just figures you'll have it when you need it.
Ooh, and we've got a divergence here with Chex going to check Agina and most likely the ledge, while Tairr is doing Moldorm and finishing up South Shore.
When you get the boots early on, he also has the access to desert, which he might go ahead and take a look at. When you get the boots early on, heading into the desert is a nice possible divergence. So there we get the Master Sword here at Mini Moldorm Cave, along with the Titan's Bit.
Very nice find on Tairr's part there.
Yeah, in this case, I can see why Chex would make a check like this. However, it is important to remember that that it is a pendant dungeon, which sometimes you might want to avoid trying to enter early on.
Yeah, it only has 2 items, so it's not a lot of payout for, you know, a bit of time to get in there.
Yeah, but we'll find out in a few moments if it was a good risk or not.
We've already found one of the items being 3 bombs.
Another heart container here in Ice Rod Cave. And I would anticipate that he's going to take a swim soon.
There he goes.
Zora is another 4 potential items up here, and then as well on he could have checked the hobo under the bridge.
And the Hylia Island.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Bombos. And the red boomerang.
Ah,
Wow, the
but
hook shot.
Chex finds something of value. Not
So
precisely in Desert Palace, but close enough.
not a complete waste of time at this point.
And with the with Desert Palace being a pendant dungeon, it might keep Tairr away from that particular area until he finds the flute.
Indeed, which may slow up his progression, and once checks South Shore, he's going to have the ability to head up to Death Mountain without the lantern, of course.
Yes, and we saw that it was the mushroom on the Zora ledge here. So Tairr's going to pick that up for a later fetch quest.
Or possibly fake powder.
Well, since he has the real powder, I think he'll...
Oh,
not
yes, we have
prioritize
the
that.
right real powder. I'm not used to it being available this early on.
And it does turn out that the last item in Desert Palace is going to be on the boss. So Chex is going to head over to Agina's cave now and give us a look, see what's there.
And without a fire source, we can't even check that yet, so... And Tairr doing the walk to the witch's hut just to check this item. Or not.
Deciding he's going to take a swim around instead. There is a dock that he can get out on here, but...
A bit of a strange divergence. May have been just a mispress there.
He might have accidentally gone for a swim. He does have
Indeed.
plenty of gloves to pick up that rock.
And are checking to bonk rocks. Let's see what it nets us. The Moon Pearl.
Moon Pearl. So that does mean that we have Dark World access, complete Dark World access. Missing the hammer for some specific checks, but we're able to move around with impunity.
Well, Chex looks like he's gonna head up dark wise up Death Mountain.
Yeah, Tairr's actually making a very interesting routing. This is actually an efficient path that he's going to be checking, considering the items he has. He's going to get King's Tomb. He's going to head over to Bonk Rocks through the north part of the along Sanctuary.
And get his Moon Pearl.
Yeah. And then he's going to be free to head up Death Mountain if he so chooses.
Because everything up on Death Mountain right now is either flute or torch locked. I'm curious what we're going to find in terms of advantage for Chex at this point. But with the gloves and Titan's mitt, Tairr also has the advantage of being able to do both sides once he gets a hook shot.
Tairr's going to take a look and see what's on the lumberjack ledge here. We'll see if we can get a good look from here. It's just a heart container. So we do have a Aghanim being dead situation now.
Rip Aga. I am not upset for our runners on that. The only thing worse than an Aga seed is a Ped seed. For those who are not aware, Ped stands for pedestal. It means clearing all of your pendant dungeons to find a item.
So 50 rupees and a piece of heart in the first chests of Paradox Cave.
Just quickly to address something chat had said, you can bypass a lot of the hammer stuff, at least overworld in the Dark World with flippers.
Yep, with the flippers and the hookshot available, we can go back and forth from east to the west side of the map. It's not the best route.
It's awful for speed, but...
So Tairr grabs his blue mail from the old man.
And to check into everyone's favorite spectacle rock. I suspect Tairr is going to go check Sahasrala's shed and see what we can find over there. Maybe with a Eastern Palace dip.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting to see when Tairr decides to change his mind along the way. It's going to be very interesting to see when Tairr decides to head over to that Desert Palace area. It really is going to be giving him a little bit of a roadblock here when he doesn't have the hookshot.
I'm wondering where Tairr is heading right now.
I think he's going to head into the Village of Outcasts.
Okay.
And
Chex is about to pick up his Titan's mitt And oh, he's walking past Moldorm Cave. Interesting.
He has made a very bold choice here to check in a different set of orders. It's not going to hurt him significantly at this point, but it is not the norm.
Indeed. What a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it'll pay off. And neither beetle drops on Tairr's side. Always one of those fun techs to get.
That's true when you hit that star panel.
And there's the hammer. Nice find on Tairr's side.
Yeah,
One of our 2 items in Skullwoods.
Let's see if Chex remembers that he should probably head into Mini Moldorm Cave.
There we go. Thanks for the 100 bits from Mad Baumer 13.
A big 20 up there on the bumper cave, so at least we know that when we find the cape, we don't have to worry about it.
The unfortunate skull hiding in the bush.
So I believe I saw pendants at Swamp and at Misery Mire when
That is
Tairr
what
did
I
that
saw.
really quick check.
With enough money to successfully both do the chess game and the digging game and still be flush with money.
Hobo under the bridge will give us 300
Another
more
300.
rupees. I don't think he's really a hobo. I think he's a secret venture capitalist.
Or he's been digging in a fountain and earned his money. Ooh, the fire rod is the first of 4 items in Thieves Town. It gives us a fire source, which means if we needed to go get something off of Langmola's, we could. Skull Woods is now available.
Absolutely. Tairr actually also has access to Tower of Hera again, which will be for sure full completable now that he has, or he doesn't have access yet, but he's shown us where the hammer access is so that we can take the top of the mountain route as soon as he gets the hook shot, or as soon as Chex heads over and grabs his hammer from Skullwoods.
And that required big key in the first 4. And I think here's where having Cane of Burna as a start is a nice payoff if you want a clean blind fight that isn't risky. It's nice to have.
Yeah, it is a very safe way to fight blind. Although,
Not to say our runners aren't spectacular at being able to do blind via the routine and have 0 problems with it. Sometimes, things go pear-shaped for whatever reason.
Tairr's reminding us all that he does have the powder, so that anti-fairy becomes a real fairy.
Ooh, and the bomb strats to pop the switch. I'm used to seeing just skull strats.
Yeah, I wonder if that is one of those marginally faster things to do. I'm not sure. Or if we just did it for the style.
Probably the swag.
So Chex is gonna hopefully find the hammer in his dip here into Skullwoods. Turns out that Thieves Town is the other 5/6 crystal, so this means that the Pyramid Fairy check is actually going to be relatively early on should our runners choose to make it.
Yes, having that hammer for a full clear of Thieves Town is very nice of a find to make this worthwhile dipping.
Yeah, and it looks like we are going to have to make use of it, so... For the silver arrows.
That is a find and a half. Well, half a find right now until we get that tasty bow.
Yes, and once we do, it really makes a big difference. A lot of bosses are weak to that. A lot of specific enemies, it speeds things up. I knew this, but always forgot that the Gibdos themselves are pretty susceptible to the silver arrows.
They're also susceptible to ether and bombos. One of the few things that actually dies to ether.
Tairr going ahead and using some hammer strats here instead of what I would assume most runners would just go ahead with the sword. Ooh,
Can see Kana Burna coming out. Safety.
Just a 5-arrow upgrade, but it is the first crystal at 26 minutes. Not too shabby.
Very nice start.
With 2 other crystal dungeons able to be full cleared right now for Tairr, that's actually really nice. He can now head into Skull Woods and finish that off if he so chooses, and then heading back to Tower of Hera once he visits the desert. I keep forgetting he has not yet got the hook shot.
Yes, our green pendant is in Swamp tonight.
This is an interesting turn of events, though, with the red pendant in Misery Mire. If he finds the flute, it's just one less reason to go check. Yeah, there's some easy overworld checks in the Mire Shed and the Desert Ledge that will entice him to head there, but it may be some time before he makes that call. It's going to be interesting to see when that happens.
Indeed, and the farther we get away, or farther we get into the seed, the less likely we're going to see Tairr head over there to check.
Yeah, he's gone ahead and to finish Dig Game for a piece of heart. He's going to go ahead and deal with the Bullfrog here. Jeremiah needs to go home. He's going to take a little world tour with him, I imagine, through the south route.
Indeed, he wants to see the rest of the world.
Big 20 from Stumpy.
It is 1 out of 8. It is a likely find, but, you know, thanks, Stumpy.
And get ready to see if this game is certified hype, as Tairr's about to head to the hype cave.
And Check's getting that anti-fairy off pattern for some reason.
Here we go. A single
That's a
rupee.
nice start.
Let's see if we find a single arrow, a single bomb, a piece of heart, 5 rupees, 300 rupees, and 20.
So, number 4, 300.
Decidedly non-hypey hype cave.
I almost wager calling this a Penny Lane seed.
Taka in chat gives it 2 out of 10. Omnicron 1 out of 10. I don't even think I'd go that. I think I'd give it -4.
I was gonna say no hype out of 10.
At this point, money is of no concern for either of our runners. That's just sad.
It is. What do the Breadsmiths have us tonight?
And Tairr's also going to be able to give us a mad batter check after he pockets 20 rupees for rescuing Jeremiah. The mad batter will curse us with something. What will he curse Tairr with today?
Could it be vanilla half magic? Oh no, quarter of a heart.
Just a piece of heart.
I always love vanilla overworld key items in Randomizer. There's just something satisfying about it.
It's almost the least expected thing to find.
Either that or something in Cave 45 or Agina's cave. So
Tairr's gonna go ahead and pick up some bombs while he's here. He's got the money for it. Chex is dealing with the blind fight. Let's see if he does not elect
fairly on
to
pattern.
use the hammer.
But getting his pokes in and pretty on pattern. So this should be right here. Beautiful.
Excellent.
I like chat saying that the seed said, "We have given you enough. Now go have fun with overworld checks." Chat. Cave 45 is the cave south of the Grove. Needs to be mirrored in. It is because it was listed as Cave 45 in some official manual.
So Tairr's now going to go do the peg game and then pick up the purple lunchbox.
Gary's missing lunchbox.
Oh, he's going to have to head back down there because that was the Cane of Samaria.
Ooh, Cane of Samaria.
You almost wish for his sake that he could have found the mirror, again, potentially sending him over to the desert area after he would have done a tablet check, but it was not meant to be.
You know, chat making a good point. Tairr is going to be right beside desert at that point. Hopefully we get a check on that ledge and go, hey, there's a hook shot. Let's take it.
He has pulled up his book, so unless he forgets that he can't climb the wall, I think that we can anticipate that that is where he's heading.
Ooh, and a lantern.
Ooh, does that change his mind about where he wants to go, though?
It
That's
totally
the question.
does.
It totally did. Oh, no.
Unfortunate. Looks like we're heading to Ice Palace.
That the hookshot going to Ice Palace is not the most fun dungeon to route and is technically half in logic and half out of logic. So, very interesting routing choice here.
Why do you say it's half out of logic?
Well, the game logically expects you to have the hookshot to get through one section of the lower area.
Bomb jump at this point.
Yes, the first bomb jump it doesn't because you can easily just put down the pegs. But the second one, it sort of does unless you choose to steal a key, leave the dungeon and come back in. In which case you can get that check, but then you will be completely locked out until you do find some other items. So, tempered sword though from the first item.
I feel this is a bit of a weird dive. It's only 3 chests, while there is potentially 4 easily available in desert.
Well, that is true, but he can also potentially get all 3 of the items still logically, as well as kill this boss. So it is a crystal.
And that is progression towards finishing. So,
and if you're comfortable making that jump, then it's really no problem completing this fully.
I'm not I'm not sure how Valera fits for a pixel precision on this, but Chex, at least with a vanilla Link sprite, should be relatively easy on it if he goes for it.
And we find a piece of heart up there on the ether medallion check, or ether tablet check. As Chex decides to make that call into the other 5-6 dungeon of Tower of Hera. Tairr is having an awful time getting through this bomb jump. Could not do it.
Electing to skip it at this point.
Well, it would have blown him up.
It's also worrisome because now there's going to be some save quitting, possibly, or mirroring if he finds it. Meanwhile, Check's going for a quick coffee break. Let's take this coffee break to quickly let you all know about the fantastic thing that this tournament is. It is a 512-person Swiss tournament. 7 weeks of this and 7 weeks of bracket play for the top 128 players. This is a ton of matches and content. Make sure we give follows to these racers. They're doing a great job. And everyone who's helping put this on, from the Link to the Past randomizer channels to the speed gaming channels.
Absolutely. So Tairr is going to go ahead and use this key that he picked up to bypass that more difficult bomb jump. Ooh, accidentally takes a little bit of damage on those spikes. I don't think that was intentional. Chexhuman, meanwhile, grabs the big key out of the basement of Tower of Hera. He's going to be heading on up to fight Trolldom.
Ooh, and the ice rod. Now with all the pieces needed for everyone's favorite dungeon, Turtle Rock.
Yes, most likely. He's got 2 out of the 3 medallions, so...
He is in a very, very strong position to check Turtle Rock.
Yes, but I would guess that he is in no hurry to do so until he at least hopefully finds the hook shot. Just so many checks over in both dark and light world Death Mountain that he's going to want to be able to make.
Agreed, and also the fact that no mirror means Mimic Cave could hold something dear, and if he went, it will hold something important.
So now we see why it's a little awkward to have made this hook shot, or excuse me, to have made this hook shotless Ice Palace. He's got to take kind of the long way around to get to the Ice Tea Room, but he seems to know the map very well.
And an unfortunate fall into the hole of shame for Chex.
But at least Tairr knows now that he's full cleared this dungeon's items and is safe to go fight Cold Stare.
Ooh, and Trolldom strikes again.
Takes another fall.
Patron saint of Link to the Past randomizer doing a number on our racer tonight.
And that's what Tairr was looking for, I think, a bit of full magic. He needed some magic, at least, to activate the Cold Stare fight. He needed enough to call on Bombos, but now a full pot is more than he required.
And Trolldorm goes down, regretting his life choices of picking on Chex.
So, a very interesting divergence in second dungeon choice here. Wow.
Nice
Rapid fire
corner
shots there. Cold
and
stare
a nice,
goes down.
fantastically quick cold stare. Very nice. And Chex doing the Turtle Rock check to see what medallion he needs. And the Hookshot Cave.
Yep, he's going to be able to do all of the Dark Death Mountain. Open up, might as well open up Turtle Rock since he's here.
And that's pleasant to know. It is Ether.
Tairr's going to have to save and quit out of Ice Palace because he has no mirror.
Just a quick ponderance of what to do next. Will he go desert? Tune in next time for Link to the Past Randomizer.
Yeah, we are literally a bow away from no mode. At 41 minutes, that's not too bad.
That is fantastic. And there's the Arrow of Destiny.
Now Chex is going to go down Super Bunny Cave.
And a single fetch quest found.
Looks like Tairr's going to go ahead and finish off Skullwood since that's what he has. He's able to do. There is still, I believe, one item here in Skullwoods. He wasn't able to, or he didn't make an effort to check because it was on the second half and he had no fire rod at that time.
I think Chex found it in the big key room, if I'm not mistaken. But, and Chex going for the Cane of Burna room. Spike Cave, affectionately called.
When you have the Cane of Burna, it's really just a full magic bar is going to be enough to get you through this safely.
And a few hearts.
Just 3 bombs, so... With that, he has cleared all of the item checks in Death Mountain, I believe at this time, that he plans on getting.
That would be the case.
We might take a look at King's Tomb. He has not yet taken that path. So Tairr has a 3-heart Mothula fight at this time coming up. We'll see if it's...
Friendly. Ooh, 4 heart. Surprised he didn't pop the anti-fairy there. Or the change pad.
He wants to save a couple fire rod shots just to speed things up. He has the Tempered Sword, so it's not a really difficult fight. It's just avoid those spikes.
And Fire Rod is really nice for that, because if he's on the top part, the fire can and will bounce him back quite often. And does not matter, because that was beautifully clean.
So Chex is going to go ahead and turn in the mushroom. We know that that leads to, I believe, a piece of heart.
Is Tairr going to make his check into Desert Mountain, or Desert Palace now?
He almost did it once, so let's see if he doesn't get distracted along the way again.
Oh, he's going eastern and going to check Sahasrahla, which we have not checked yet. Or not.
No, I think he's going to go and look at Hobo and the island.
And Hobo's going to pay off another 300 rupees, which he is going to question why this Hobo has.
So the early stun prize here is a single rupee. Chex got us a look at it when he
Ooh,
killed
our
that green
first
jelly.
bottle from Shovel.
Yeah. 45 minutes for our first bottle. Does also give us the Sick Kid check that Chex seems to be heading for right now.
It's so close. Why wouldn't you?
Gonna get a little spin speed there off those steps. Really nice. All for a piece of heart. Now let's see what old Sahasrahla has for us. Hiding in his closet.
Salarsh. What does he have?
Wow!
Ooh.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Along with a bottle of purple or blue goo just to go along with it. I know that that's what you're all excited about, right? That bottle of blue goo.
Goo.
Now that's going to make both Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace completable for Tairr if he so chooses.
And still pushes him further away from that hook shot.
That is absolutely true.
And I don't think it's no mode anymore. It is go mode, if I'm not mistaken. We have that pendant for Turtle Rock.
Yes, but neither of our runners are. Tairr does need to acquire the hook shot.
Yes. And that is going to be fun. Because based on the current locations of items, Chex has the better positioning to find what he needs compared to Tairr.
That is absolutely true. Unless Tairr decides that he's going to learn hover strike. Maybe he has them in his pocket. I don't know for sure.
Or could go for the hope of hookshot in Ganon's Tower.
Mm-hmm.
It is very possible with the dungeons we have required.
Oh, but we could see the dreaded Ganon's Tower double dip.
Oh. The only thing worse than that is being in no mode and doing Ganon's Tower with a fighter sword. Has to be one of my favorite outcomes so far in this tournament. It was just not fun at all.
Yes, at this point for Tairr, he doesn't have to go into Swamp. So that's one of the hookshot required dungeons. He's already finished Ice Palace. Turtle Rock, you could take the slow route.
Ooh, Swagnet found.
Indeed. So really it's just the gap after Trolldorm 2, I think, that is the only for sure place that Tairr has to cover.
It speeds up Turtle Rock, but it's not required. So yeah, it's basically a guaranteed at this point for Moldorm 2.
So Grabsack, no mode means that we, the viewers, know where everything is that is needed for the runners to complete the game, but neither of the runners have actually achieved that yet.
Hookshot is on the ledge by Desert Palace, which is a pendant dungeon.
What this effectively means is that if Tairr was able to reliably hover, he would be a 45-minute go mode and able to go all of these dungeons.
The only thing I think that will drive Tairr to find it is if he finds the flute in either desert or yeah, honestly, in not desert, sorry, in pod.
Yeah, he really is. Or
Ooh, and Check's doing the pyramid fairy check. Nice clear of Armos Knights from Tairr.
I tell you what, though, I would really love to see somebody make this and hover that last bridge up, that last gap after Trolldom. That would be amazing.
I almost feel that deserves the name of, you know, an Andy at this point.
Well, without a doubt, Andy would do that, so...
Exactly. And nothing important from either of those other than a bottle for checks out of the Pyramid Fairy. Ooh, and Check's doing the dreaded catfish check.
Oh, that is true. Without the mirror, Tairr can't get up Death Mountain to get to the Dark World of Death Mountain. Doesn't have the hook shot.
No, as long as he has the hammer, he can go up Light World and take a Turtle Rock.
But he can't get all the way up in the Light World without the mirror.
Oh, you are right.
So he does need some additional item.
And the Katata fish does not pay off tonight. There is no legendary quest to be found there.
So Chex is spending an awful lot of time on these overworld checks that are really just, we know, are not paying off for what he actually needs. But it does look like he's going to make the Ice Palace play now, which will net him at least one component that he's missing in the Ice Rod.
And also a Tempered Sword.
That is true.
I don't know about that. Bombs take a while to explode. Throwing a skull at someone pretty much guarantees I'm going to do something to them.
Now, this find of the Ice Rod that Chex is going to make while he's here, completing this dungeon, it may send him down, or up, sorry, to Turtle Rock right away.
Very true. I was just thinking the same thing. It's gonna lead him astray at this point.
Excuse me, I am mistaken. He has to make that south, or that Village of Outcasts check into Hammer Pegs to get the cane, and at which point he's most likely going to complete the Jeremiah check and get the purple lunchbox for the lantern as well.
Indeed, and be set for those dark rooms in Turtle Rock. Setting up for the bomb jump from Tairr here, it looks like. And beautifully executed. I will admit that bomb jump has eluded me for a while, so I am very impressed when people get it.
Yeah, that was with very little setup. Didn't use some menu buffering to help make it a little easier. Just kind of...
There was a little bit of menu buffering, but not terribly much.
At some point, Tairr has to think to himself, which of these pendant dungeons do I have to go into?
And which one is going to be the easiest? Because he can't really get anywhere other than, I think, like 5 or 6 chests in Swamp, and does not have the flute yet to validate whether he can do Mire.
Yeah, and the seed gave him all of the tips it could at the start to head over to desert, so makes use of a nice little bonk there to cross the gap in order to shoot that switch.
I love that bonk.
Yeah, it looks easier than it is. It's not particularly challenging, but you can miss and start running up the stairs, which is a little frustrating.
Interesting thing. If we don't find the mirror and he gets a hook shot, we're probably going to see a Turtle Rock. I'm just wondering how he's going to get. Oh no, he'll do Hera and then Turtle Rock. I was hoping for a Hera into Ganon's tower. Which is the shortest key game ever.
Sword beams thwarted by the back of the stairs there.
And a nice turtle room from Tairr there.
Nice little bomb jump by Chex to speed up his routing here.
And with silver arrows, Tairr should tear through this boss. Try the fish, I'm here all week.
He's getting a really nice set of smashes with the hammer there. No fireballs is also very nice. Oh, miscounting though. And Halmasar King did not want to go down there. Juked him out at the last couple of times. Three bombs and another crystal for Tairr.
Yep. He's ripping and tearing through this. And I love the extra speed Helmasaur King gets at the end there. Makes you really hope your arrow lands. And I think Chad is right. Tairr is going to realize this is his only play, is desert at this point.
Yeah, he didn't find anything that would have led him elsewhere, which was a risk.
But he is still staying in Dark World and not saving and quitting, which would be the indicative path for him at this point.
Yeah, I believe he has Pyramid Ledge still to check for himself, as well as Catfish, so he might be heading up that way.
Fair enough. Knock those two slightly out of the way. Checks out.
Another nice little speed spin. So if he does make the call to go to the Desert Ledge first, it's going to put him in go mode relatively early on in the seed. So with not all that much left to do.
But Chex is just about to catch that up and has the knowledge of the hook shot.
Yep, he's going to get his bow right here.
He still needs to do hammer pegs, though.
Yep, so this is going to be nice. If he feels comfortable with the dark rooms in Pod and Eastern Palace, he's probably going to take care of those.
I think this is going to be a sick kid check from Tairr.
Oh yeah, that is his first bottle that he got from Saharshla's hut. Yeah, Chexhuman has to get the cane from the hammerpeg room. So he can't really afford to go mode many dungeons. He's already made so many overworld checks. He may be kind of tired of doing that.
And he also needs the lantern from Gary's lunchbox. The purple chest.
Yes, if he's unwilling to do the dark rooms remaining to him. So Tairr may be heading down to the desert. I wonder if we'll see him make some slashes when he finds the hookshot on Desert Ledge.
I suspect there will be a little bit of rage out of this.
Will he go? It looks like he's going to go right to see the ledge first. So a good call for him. There it is. He knows where it is now. He could just run in, run out, grab it, and run out.
Exactly.
Yeah, with boots, if you are ever in this position, it's almost always worth your while to go check that visible ledge first when you're hunting for a single item than it would be to go and check all of the chests inside the desert.
Because knowledge is power.
Knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe. Welcome to Link to the Past Randomizer. 80s TV shows trivia.
Well, I mean, the game is an early 90s game, yes?
Indeed. I feel a lot of us are those 80s kids, so...
So now we're just going to be climbing the mountain. I don't even think Tairr's going to choose to check any extraneous chests along the way.
I don't think so either. This is a very low heart seed for Tairr at this point.
Yeah, an hour and 2 go mode with the 2 final dungeons being up here on Death Mountain is a really nice chance for a very fast speed.
Mm-hmm. I think the only thing, and I don't expect it to be a problem for Tairr, but the safety items right now would be hearts, 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 and half magic.
Well, he does have a bug net to go with his bottle, so he could catch fairies.
And he does have a vial of blue goo, so, you know, I think he's pretty covered. I think he's in a good spot. And with silvers, we don't have to worry about torch glitching. Yeah, I think Tairr is just going to fly through these 2 dungeons.
Well, he's going to fly as fast as basement-required Tower of Hera can let him.
And we'll all go get another coffee. For Tairr, I think he is in Germany, so, you know, GMT 2 or 3. So this is quite early for him, if I'm not mistaken.
The last stun prize we saw, Jago, was a green rupee when we saw them do it. Yeah, now the real speed for him will be the go boating of Turtle Rock. If he gets a key before Laser Bridge, he doesn't have to check anything there. That'll be really nice. That's several checks that he won't have to make. He will be able to skip certain chests. He doesn't have to do Mimic. If he finds the big key at an appropriate time, he will also be able to dodge a couple more chests. He won't have to go to vanilla.
I think just chat saying he's falling asleep after these couple of points. I think it's controller problems more than anything. This has been a fun seed so far. You know, no flute, no mirror.
Yeah, for a no flute, no mirror, it's been very fast.
It has.
And only 8 hearts.
Yeah, the 8 hearts is
Tairr.
the thing. And blue mail only, which means Ganon is going to hit like a truck if he gets bodied at all. I don't expect to see that, but, you know, it happens.
Yeah, he does have the silver arrows and tempered swords, so the fight is not necessarily too nasty.
No, it's only 12, 12, and then the requisite 4. And it doesn't help that Chex doesn't have that last item knowledge, which means he's checking everything here, and that will slow him down.
Trolldorm does reject Tairr from jumping into the pit, and then immediately knocks him off. Does it again. Will not let Tairr into the pit. You don't see that too often. Every once in a while, and another fall. Down to 1 heart. At some point, you wonder if Tairr's going to pull the trigger on that potion or take the death.
That was a little bit better. Thank you, Trolldorm.
It's so frustrating when you have the tempered sword and you know you only really need 2 proper hits on Trolldorm, but manages to finish him off. He's going to get a health and magic replenishment as he heads over to Turtle Rock. Chex gets a little mixed up on these mimics. Once you lose the ideal easy pattern, it always slows you down.
It totally does. And nice dashing past those wonderful spike barriers.
Hits the tech tyke on the way.
Ooh, and a troll dead rock.
Oh,
Ooh.
and that did it again. Tairr's going to throw some powder on this one. Unfortunately, it only works when it's not in rock form.
And the thing is, Tairr doesn't know he is in go mode. He hasn't checked this, so he doesn't know that he has the right medallion.
That is true, but at any point when you have 2 medallions, you have to feel like you've got a 66% chance of feeling it.
And I can hear a sigh of relief from him. Ooh, and a beautiful bomb jump from Chex as well in pod.
So let's see if the logic has conspired to give him a very fast path through Turtle Rock or a not so fast path.
And Chex being a champ going through the dark maze in pod.
Oof. Tairr has been falling down quite a bit.
It seems that RNG manipulation he was doing didn't pay off.
No, seemingly not. So he does have to take the slow route through this. Oh no, he has the hookshot now. Never mind.
Chat, I don't think he does. I think he's gonna go straight into Ganon's tower, because at this point, He's gonna have to check some chests in Ganon's tower. Oh, and there's the big key. That is a nice find. So I expect him to find what he can from there and go off of that.
Since he hasn't done the dig game, he didn't get that fairy in a bottle. So this is going to be a very useful death warp back to the front of the dungeon.
Sans mirror, it is a very nice death warp.
Yes, that is true. It is interesting that the swag duck will come save you even if you don't have the flute.
Obi-Wan Swag Duck Nobi. You're our only hope.
Whew. Chain chomps, they hurt so much when you only have 8 hearts.
They do 4, do they not?
With blue mail, yeah, they do 4.
Ugh, I hate those chain chomps. One location, like the Lionels.
Or is it 4, 3, and 2? They still do a lot. Tairr collects all of the fairies there.
Since the duck is key to all of this, and stealing that key so he doesn't have to worry about laser bridge, Tairr making the smart moves here.
He does have the big key already, so he knows it's not there.
Also, please note that the duck is the duck S Machina.
Grabbing the compass out of the big chest, it's right there.
0 time lost check. Also, we have 0 shields. Not even a fire shield.
The only shield we've seen was on top of Spectacle Rock. The runner, having found the mirror, able to check that. Excellent movement through this area by Tairr.
I always remember this room giving me a challenge as a kid and realizing how easy it is now.
Yeah, there's really only like 3 directions you have to hold.
Right and down, and then suddenly you hold left once you get around the loop. I remember drawing that maze out by hand.
And Tairr's on to the try next fight.
Ooh, is Chex going to check his hammer peg cave and get his item he needs? I think he is. Nice one cycle from Tairr on Trinex.
Excellent work. Who needs health?
Beautiful kill.
That was excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that leads us to one of the more fun components of everyone's favorite part of Zelda Randomizers, the Big Key Guessing Game. So, for those of you who don't know the rules, you just need to enter from a number from 1 to 22 in the chat. If you are a member of follower, or excuse me, if you are a subscriber to one of the Speed Gaming family channels, you'll be entered into a contest to see how many times you can correctly guess the location of the Ganon's Tower Big Key, or if you have donated at least 250 bits to one of the channels, you are also eligible to play. Of course, everybody is welcome, but the leaderboard will only be kept for those members of the chat. So hurry up and quickly enter, because we only have a short jaunt before he enters Ganon's Tower, and we have to stop
So,
our selection.
Crow, where do you think it's going to be tonight?
I want this to go fast, so I'm gonna say it's on chest 6.
I'm saying 5 with the assumption he goes full right.
Ooh.
He's going full right. Man after my own heart. So, small key in chest number 1, 20 rupees in chest number 2.
This is a very bold move again. Can't help but say it.
Ooh, and that wall master almost taking Tairr back.
We often see players use the cane here, but bombs are just as good if you're low on magic.
Number 3, a piece of heart. Number 4, a rupee. 5, a piece of heart. Ooh, that is nice. 6, 20 rupees. I think we have both been stymied. And Tairr going to show us the oft not seen part of Ganon's Tower in Randomizer.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I quite literally must use either Cane of Berna here or the Cape.
Ooh, is he just death warping, I think.
I don't think so. He's going to use that red goo. And you can use the hookshot to kind of give yourself some iframes to make this a bit easier, but Tairr must feel as if he's behind, because this seems to be almost like a desperation play.
It does. And there we go.
Is.
Let's make sure we ask him about that.
So this portion leads us back to the Bob Ferry and the drop down to Armos Knights 2, but it is a path that you rarely see.
It very much is very rare. So, chest number 7 being Bob's chest tonight. The big key. Chest number 7.
So with no mirror and too many hearts,
he's gonna go through the big chest room here.
Yeah, it's not too bad. We might get a very rare opening of the big chest.
Oh, we did.
Make sure to grab that key.
He needs.
And if you think about it, going to the left there would get you another key, and you would be able to avoid picking up the Helmisar keys. But Tairr's got no problem dealing with them when he gets there.
Indeed, and chat pointing out full right was probably the most optimal path there.
Absolutely was. Unexpectedly so.
How often do you get to say that?
Going all the way right first? Okay. Tairr's heading up to the gauntlet area of Ganon's Tower in a few moments. He's just got to make it past these spikes.
And a nice key dash leading into this room.
Now, he does have an empty bottle, so I wonder if he might go and pick up a fairy out of this fairy check area.
I think with the timer being what it is, although Tairr didn't see that hookshot until really late. I'm wondering if he's worried he's way behind already.
Yeah, I believe that lack of a early hook shot is weighing heavily on his mind. Probably
Yep.
was what convinced him to make that right side check, and now he may feel like he's just kind of caught up a little bit as that gamble paid off. Getting shot in the back by this Beamos, bringing his hearts down. He's going to probably want to pick up that one heart that he saw. There it is. Other than that, though,
Go ahead.
Other than that, he's made pretty good time through the latter half of this gauntlet. He's going to convert this bunny beam into a fairy.
And this is why powder is the important item in this game.
Especially in a significantly low heart setup like this.
Oh, you cannot pass that startup.
In fact, I have heard it said by many people, by turning that bunny beam into a fairy, you almost guarantee the 3 landmosses to spawn simultaneously. And my observational experience says that is somewhat true. So Chexhuman now has finished his Turtle Rock check. We'll see where he thinks he is when he enters the Ganon's Tower, what path he chooses to make. Meanwhile, Tairr has made it up that bridge, the last kind of area that you can sort of get trolled by having one of those guards knock you off. Unfortunately, he does take a fall here on the narrow path. The second fall was intentional, though. That bonk was not. But he still managed to quickly get through and up the stairs. So grabs the key from the mini Helmsars as Chexhuman enters the Ganon's Tower. Ooh. Tairr's absolutely making excellent use of all of these, of his powder and these anti-fairies to replenish his hearts. He has upgraded to 9 hearts, so he's got that going for him. And Trolldorm 2 strikes again, knocking him off the platform. He does have this anti-fairy down here that he can make use of in the event that he has this happen too many times. With Trolldorm finished, this is the area that we thought perhaps if he never found the hook shot and found a way across, he might try to hover. What an exciting race, ladies and gentlemen. Tairr's about to head us to the Aghanim 2 fight. Chex is hot on his heels, went the traditional route, and we know that that's going to take a little bit more time than it took for Tairr, just because he's got to end up all the way to the Bob chest. Ooh. Almost scoring a triple there on an odd angle. Not too shabby. Aghanim 2 goes down, and we'll see the mystical duck that was never released from the weather vane save the day now. I guess Tairr just has a really good whistle that he can use. All right, so let's see if... Looks like we've got a nice little sweet spot here. Getting a lot of hits off on Ganon. pushing him into phase 2 really quickly. Might even be able to push him into phase 3 really rapidly in this one cycle. We've got down to 2 hearts. He's going to have to make use of his blue potion.
That's why he was saving it, and I think he's glad he saved it at this point.
Yep. Managed to push him into phase 3 in one cycle. It's about as good as you can hope for with this low number of hearts and this setup. Did we find the arrows? We absolutely did. Tairr's going to go ahead and get that first shot off, and unfortunately, can't get the torch glitch as a result.
And a really nice dodge on that not pleasant setup. Ganon.
Yeah, he's going to kind of be in a situation now where you almost want to wait for that torch to go out, synced up, but Tairr doesn't have time for that. One hit away from the end.
Beautifully done, Tairr.
Excellent. GG for Tairr. Let's give him a hand here in chat. That was a challenging seed that he managed to put through its paces. What an excellent work. What excellent work. Chexhuman is hot on his heels. Just finishing up the start of the climb.
That is, to emulate chat, that is one brilliant time. That was fantastically done.
Yeah, mirrorless, fluteless, a trolley location on that hookshot for him, and still a time of about 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 12 seconds.
Our official speed racing TV time is 1:26:13.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I did not have the link.
No worries. This is why they have two of us.
So I think we'll see if Tairr wants to come in and have a chat with us in a few moments. But in the meantime, let's watch Chex finish up his climb since they're so close at this point.
And it's important, let's give these guys a big thanks by following them and giving them the love and the respect they deserve for putting themselves out here and giving us such great entertainment week after week. As well as, our trackers, our commentators, our restreamers, and the channels. Everyone has made this fantastic, so let's give them the love and the respect they deserve.
Chexhuman making quick work of Landmolus 2. Not the fastest, but nothing to laugh at.
Everyone's favorite Kane strats.
Yeah, the second room there with the cane has that cheeky little spike that always seems to find its way to block one of your cane blasts. But Chexhuman shows us how it's done in a single cycle there.
Good job getting out of their checks. One of the challenges of Moldorm 2 being the smaller platform, that getting caught on the wrong side, he can easily just turn into you.
Yes, at this point, I'm sure that Chex is just in a focused zone. Probably hasn't checked to see where he is positionally.
And at this point, I don't think I would either. You just need to keep on pushing, and then you'll go there and click .done and go, oh.
Playing along to the song with us. Gets a nice double to start. Ooh, and a triple follow-up.
Beautiful Aghanim.
Yeah, 3 cycle. That was technically a 2-3-1.
Mm-hmm. Really hard to get better than that.
And the final Ganon fight of the seed. Once he quits yapping.
Nice spot for spins.
Unfortunately, not able to get that single cycle on the first phase.
This is a perfect setup for bats, though.
Absolutely, as he can stay in there as long as he wants.
Nice exit, too. Well done, Chex.
Takes no damage. Gets the first swipe as well. Gets the torch glitch and sets up a perfect double, but missed it.
Beautifully executed by Chex there, and a little close to the edge.
And as Chex is about to finish up, we'll pull Tairr in. We'll have a chat with him about how he felt the seed was going. So welcome, Tairr. GG on the race.
GG.
How are you feeling after what looked to be a kind of tricky seed that you managed to pull off in a fairly quick time?
Yeah, this seed was a good one. It made fun, at least.
Yes, there was a couple of moments where we were wondering if you had a feeling that you were behind as a result of perhaps that hook shot on being on Desert Ledge.
Nah.
No, you felt ahead the whole way?
Yes.
Absolutely, all right. And as well, the chat was noticing there were a couple of moments where you kind of got paused up. Was there something going on with your setup?
The first time I went to the toilet, and the second time I went to the kitchen.
Oh, so casual in a high stakes race, it seems.
Been there, so I feel you on that.
When you gotta go, I suppose. So, Tairr, did you find the setup seemed a little odd? The early boots, early flippers, kind of opened a lot of doors for you. What was your thought process when you were deciding where to go once you finished that initial Kakariko village?
Good question. First, I did the standard opening, Kakariko, then South Shore, and then I kinda looked at the map, looked at my items. I saw that I have the flippers, then I went to Sora, then I went to Hookshot, King's Tomb, then Bonk Rock, then dismount, and then I was confused. And then I realized I had Titan's Mitts and the Moon Pearl.
Oh yes, yeah. I was mentioning during that point, like it was a really, it was a very nice kind of a routing technique to have the flippers and the boots there to make that King's Tomb check to come across the north part. It was really like logical and efficient routing, so it was neat to see because it's very different to see at that early part of the game, people making that check. So we're just going to check and see, now that Chex is finished, if he's going to pop in. We'll have a little chat with him as well. But in the meantime, Tairr, that puts you at 3-1 in a really good spot. How do you feel about the tournament so far?
I'm having a good time. It's fun.
Absolutely. And it's, again, the chat is really hyped to watch races of this quality. So thank you for performing in such a great way. Really was a close race, so we had a lot of fun rooting as you guys kind of went back and forth all the way along the way. A collection rate of 119 is really low, so this seed seemed to direct you in a... Did it feel linear, or did you feel like you had a lot of places to go?
Kinda felt linear, in a way. Maybe it was just my routing.
Yeah, it's like you had one place to go. Oh, and that was the other question I was thinking. We were impressed, both myself and Alradis were excited to see you make the call to go to Ice Palace without the hookshot. Obviously, it was one of the few places that you kind of had to go, and your routing through there was phenomenal. So what was that like? Were you prepared for that without making that hookshot?
It's just Ice Palace. Nothing special without the hookshot.
And it looks like we've got Chex in here with us. GG, Chex.
Looks like Chex is setting up his mic still, perhaps. Yeah, it was just that a lot of, like, you had to go out and make use of the key to come back in out at that one point in Ice Palace to avoid the second bomb jump. So that seems to have been, that was just a good move. It netted you the ice rod. It turns out that for us, we kind of knew where your go mode item was for a long time. We were a little interested to see when you would make the call to head over to Desert. With Mire and Desert being pendants, it just didn't feel like a normal, like, easy check call to make to look there until the time that you did. So was there anything specifically drawing, or was that I had nowhere else to look, so it must be there?
Kinda. The only other option I had left was Spy Cave.
Hello.
There you are, Chex.
Hey, Chex. GG.
Thank you. GG.
So how did you feel there, Chex? You were making a bunch of really good calls at the start. Gave you that early hook shot. Was there any particular reason that led you to the desert area so early on in the seed?
Sure, yeah. Early book. Boots made it seemingly like I could get something out of it. Yeah. It's different from the same old mini Moldorm route.
Yeah, in fact, you kind of bypassed the mini Moldorms for a moment as well when you were heading up to Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, that was just dumb.
Oh, we were wondering if you were just like, I don't need to get there, or if you just kind of slipped your mind that you hadn't yet been there.
Right, exactly.
Ah, okay. So when you were doing that, at any point, did you feel like you were in a behind? Or did you feel like you were ahead? How were your thoughts along the way during the course of this race?
I felt like I was ahead until I found the cane, essentially. I never really know what order to do things in the overworld and West Dark World, so that I don't know. Smith and bomb can't be done at the same time. I don't know even why I tried that.
Yeah, that was a kind of a, oh, okay, there's a new, nope, that's not going to work. But what was interesting for us as viewers was that both you and Tairr kind of had a very divergent middle game, right? The seed was very linear at the start, so you followed along with one another. But as soon as you guys were free to kind of go places, you were off in two completely different directions until such time as you were kind of hunting for that last item, because you were looking, of course, for the Cane of Samaria. Tairr was looking for the hook shot. We were, if we were wondering what would happen, Tairr, if you had found Mirror instead of the hook shot, as it might have led you up the mountain again.
Doesn't make a difference.
All right. And at that point, both of you found your final items relatively close to one another. It's just that Tairr had about a dungeon or so lead at that point, and it carried forward through to the end of the matchups. So before we let you go, would you like to have any kind of final comments or things that you'd like to say, Tairr? How you feel, who you're looking forward to perhaps meeting up with later on in the tournament, or just any general comments that you'd like to share with us?
I want Solsky in the next round. I want to destroy him.
Oh, all right.
Ooh.
We'll see what happens. We'll see if we can make that take place. And same question for you, Chex. Still alive in the tournament. Lots of games left. How do you feel? Is there anybody you're looking forward to seeing and meeting up with, or anyone you're hoping you avoid?
I don't have any particular thoughts on my competitors, but I'm just leaving it to chance, enjoying each seed as it comes.
Fantastic. Well, just for all of you guys watching today in chat, both of these runners put on an excellent show for you. So once again, just like to remind you, if you wouldn't mind, to stop by their respective channels, throw them a follow. I'm sure they'd appreciate it. There's absolutely tons of Randomizer left to watch. This tournament has got 3 more weeks, including this one of Swiss, and then 7 more weeks of brackets. So there's tons of matches, lots of excitement to look forward to. Thanks so much, Chex and Tairr, for such a great show. Congratulations, Tairr, on your victory. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the future.
Yes, thank you so much for everything tonight.
Thank you.
All right, Alaritas, that kind of wraps it up for us. Once again, I was Crozone80. I'd like to thank my co-commentator here, Alaritas, if you'd like. I'm sure he as well would enjoy an additional follow from all of the viewers and fans. As well, Hitaka was on tracking duty for us today. Did a fantastic job making sure all of these little icons were lit up for you guys, so throw him a follow as well. Everybody deserves the love. And is there any kind of final thoughts that you'd like to share with us, Alaritas?
No, it was a fantastic race. There's a ton more content coming also tonight and throughout the week, and for the next 3 weeks before we hit brackets and SGDQ. So enjoy the content, keep on watching, and let's support this and make this the best tournament ever.
Indeed, I think that it's already well on its way. So everybody who's a Rando fan, have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
Night.